Thank you so much. Thank you for invitation. So let's talk more about ALESCo, about contributions and our future plans of our project. So my name is Lukoshko, and I'm AlmaLinux lead architect from first day. Before AlmaLinux, I also spent many years working in different industries, and also I built a Red Hat-based product for last 10 years, even more. So here is our plan for today. So we are going to discuss why AlmaLinux is not just CentOS Linux replacement, and how we make technical decisions in our project, and how can you involved into this process, how we keep legacy hardware support, and also how to build your own product based on AlmaLinux. We have several examples already. So initially we announced AlmaLinux at the very end of 2020 because we wanted to create some CentOS Linux replacement on the market, but protect this project from what happened to Red Hat, to CentOS Linux. But when we started, so we found out that we can do slightly better. So as you see, CentOS was always being like back-to-back clone. So it wasn't possible to affect this operating system. They can't do bug fixes. They can't do security fixes. So basically, there are some limitations. But AlmaLinux is API compatible, and I will explain later why it is great. Also, we were able to do much faster releases. So historically, if you are a CentOS Linux user, you had to wait about 30 days after Red Hat releases some minor version until CentOS Linux appeared. And for major releases, it was a huge delay, like 6 months or something. And for us, we can make it much faster. Usually, it takes like up to 6 days to release a minor version. And for major versions, slightly more, up to 2 weeks, but it's still like very fast, I would say. And also, CentOS Linux never published any security data, but we do. So we have several ways to get security data. You can get them from almalinux.org portal. You can work with security data with your DNF. So basically, if you want to just install security patches, I don't want to install any bug fixes, you can do that. And also, we provide oval data, which is like XML-based format for third-party security scanners that can to maintain your security. And also OpenSCAP support, which allows to check your system for different security profiles and apply them. Never worked on CentOS Linux, but we provide this like since the very beginning. So you can install system already like pre-configured for some OpenSCAP profiles, or you can do this later after installation. So what does API compatible means for us? Everything that runs on Red Hat still runs on AlmaLinux, always. So if it's not, you should report this, and we will fix it. We're like checking this very strictly. And we still include every bug fix, every security fix, every new version, and so on from Red Hat. So if you compare our packages with Red Hat packages, you will see the same version exactly. But we also can do something more. So we can, and sometimes we do that, we add additional bug fixes to our system, add additional security fixes, usually like days or even weeks before Red Hat does that. And also we re-enabled a lot of hardware support that was dropped from Red Hat for some non-technical reasons. We don't know why this happened, but we see that it's possible to make them work, so we made them work. And also, we re-enabled some software features that were disabled on Red Hat side. Sometimes for all architectures, sometimes it happens like for specific architectures, like virtualization support on PowerPC. So I'll show later some changes that we made. So what exactly we enabled? This is something that available in Fedora Linux, which is Red Hat upstream, but was disabled in Red Hat for some reason. So software and storage and network devices support. So there are a lot of storage and network devices that are considered legacy, but they still work, and we just made them work. So especially it's important for storage devices, because when you install your system and the installer doesn't see your storage device, you just can't continue. So very useful sometimes. So we re-enabled back SPICE protocol that was historically used in many virtualization environments, especially for virtual desktop infrastructure. It dropped since Red Hat 9 for some reason. It still works in Fedora, and we re-enabled this in AlmaLinux. Well, also, we made KVM virtualization of IBM Power available again. It was disabled since Red Hat 9, and we did this. Recently, we introduced BetterFS support on AlmaLinux 10. It was never available in Red Hat, and again, it is available in Fedora, so we brought it back. Also, we did CPUs, older CPUs support for AlmaLinux 10. So it's a separate architecture that we built, and it allows to run AlmaLinux 10 on like almost every CPU that was released after 2008. And also we enabled frame pointers support in AlmaLinux 10 as well. That allows software developers to do better debugging or profiling their application for maximum performance. So how we make such decisions? So before May 2024, it was me who decided everything, which is, yeah, sometimes it may be comfortable for me, okay, but sometimes I can be wrong, and also I represent just one of the market areas. I work for a hosting company. So after 2024, we decided, okay, we need a group of people to make this decision called ALESCo, and Benny mentioned this before. So our responsibilities is to oversight the operating system. We maintain transparency in every decision, so everyone can see what we do. Everyone can join our meetings to see what we discuss. We also obviously maintain long-term stability for our project and for our operating system. We do release management, and we support SIGs with what they do, especially like core SIG, because core SIG is responsible for all the Red Hat deviations, and yeah, they can't do that without ALESCo approval. So what decisions we made so far? First, ALESCo decision was to start building Fedora Apple repos for AlmaLinux 10 that we built for older CPUs. Because you know, using Red Hat clones without Apple repo is very limited, so we decided to build this repo as well. It's several thousands of packages we built on daily basis to make it compatible for our special AlmaLinux and AlmaLinux Keynote builds for older CPUs. Our second decision was to enable KVM on AlmaLinux 9. So AlmaLinux 10 was have for PowerPC, and AlmaLinux 10 was had this support from the beginning, and for 9 we had to add it slightly later. It was like community response. Also, very small UI tweak, by the way, for GNOME. So it allows to bring back to our GNOME dynamic workspace indicator. So when you switch your desktops, you see in the left top corner your current workspace. So it's available in original GNOME, but it was removed by Red Hat for some reason. We re-enabled it back. Then we decided to build NVIDIA open source drivers. and ship. So it's very easy to install NVIDIA open source drivers. Especially, it's very important if you use a secure boot-enabled system, which is almost every system. So you can use NVIDIA drivers without disabling secure boot to keep your system secure. Next decision we made was to enable BetterFS in our AlmaLinux 10. So I will have several slides about this later. And last decision so far is to enable CRB repo on AlmaLinux 10. So basically, usually in Red Hat systems, you have just base OS and upstream repos enabled by default. But CRB is very popular repo as well, and you can't use Apple without this repo. So we decided to enable it for everyone by default since AlmaLinux 10. This allows to much easier install packages from Apple, because sometimes Apple require packages from this repo, and also it requires some SE Linux policies that was available in this repo. So this makes things much easier for our users. And currently we also have discussion to add alternative kernels with latest versions that will be signed with AlmaLinux key that will allow, again, to use secure boot-enabled systems without any issues. So currently it's under discussion. We want to make sure that we do like proper technical, let's say, decisions, because we need to know which kernels we want to build. We want to know which configuration should include. So there are several open questions we're discussing right now about this. You can join the discussion if you have some ideas. So as for BetterFS, why we did this? So BetterFS is like next generation file system for Linux. It's much more advanced at current operating file systems like X4 or XFS. So it allows you to do snapshots. It's very reliable. It allows to do compression on the fly. So many features that are not available usually in Red Hat. And this was requested by our partner and sponsor, Meta. So what happened next? So initially there is some timeline for this decision. So initially they submitted this RFC on May 2025. We spent like about 1 month discussing details, and this was accepted by ALESCo on June 2. And it took just 8 days after this decision to release first AlmaLinux Keynote 10 images that support BetterFS in installer, and later after installation as well. Then there was 3 months of testing in our AlmaLinux Keynote system, and we found several bugs, and support was improved in September. In October, we released like first beta version of regular AlmaLinux with this BetterFS support. And finally, in November, we released like it in AlmaLinux stable. So currently, anyone can install AlmaLinux 10.1 on BetterFS volumes. How can you participate in this project? So how can you submit your changes to AlmaLinux? So there is a GitHub repo with our RFCs, proposals. So you just need to fork this repo. You just need to create a new branch in it. You should fill a document with using our template, explaining what you're going to change, what you're going to add to our system. Then submit this pull request and start discussion. Another topic I want to cover today about legacy hardware is 32-bit support on AlmaLinux. Historically, Red Hat still releases some of 32-bit packages for Red Hat 10 and 9 to maintain support with some 32-bit software, but it's like very small subset of packages available in Red Hat. So we decided, first of all, to release all the 32-bit packages we built to Vault AlmaLinux org. So it's not available in regular repos because we don't want to store this on our partners' repos because it consumes space there. So it's available on our servers. And it was useful, at least for one very well-known company, which is Arista Networks. And they use AlmaLinux 9 for 32 bits in their specific extensive operating system for their devices since 2024. And the reasons for that are pretty simple. So 32 bits binaries, they consume much less memory. And network devices have limited RAM memory. And also they want to maintain their older legacy 32 bits extensions that their users used to, and they can still use them on their latest releases, thanks to AlmaLinux 9 built for 32 bits. So what are our next steps for that? So AlmaLinux 9, just like Red Hat 9, will be supported until May 2032. And Red Hat 9 and AlmaLinux 9 was the latest releases to have 32 bits packages in them. Since Red Hat 10, they decided to drop this architecture completely. And so far, it's the same happens for AlmaLinux 10. Fedora still builds for 32 bits, but they never released it. So it's only available in their build system. So still, Arista Networks, as well as Meta, are interested to have AlmaLinux 10 builds for 32-bit platforms. So we are working on them right now. Here is our plan for this. So first, we need to bootstrap our AlmaLinux kitten on 32 bits using Fedora repos as dependencies. And this was already done. So we are currently on step 2. Which is must rebuild everything again, but without Fedora this time. And we are doing this right now. We have about 2,000 packages to build, and probably 60 of them left. So currently we investigate the latest build issues, dependencies, and so on. Then we are going to release AlmaLinux Kitten 10 packages and containers for this platform. And in May, we hope that AlmaLinux 10.2 will be the first stable release to include 32 bits. And then we're going to provide support for them for the lifetime of AlmaLinux 10, so it will be until May 2035. Next topic for today is how software developers can do products on top of AlmaLinux. So we have several downstreams right now. The most well-known probably is Cloud Linux. It's operating system for hosting industry. It's made on top of AlmaLinux, and also several desktop desktop operating systems. 2 of them are based on our bootc containers that are provided by AtomicSig, mentioned before. And also Orion OS, also desktop and gaming OS without containers as far as I know, but it has AlmaLinux as a base and a lot improved desktop experience. And also some commercial software that uses AlmaLinux as a base is AlertLogic, Arista Networks, I already mentioned them, and Cisco Unified Communications Manager. They use AlmaLinux inside their VMs to control their software. So why they choose AlmaLinux for their products? So first of all, it's a non-profit ownership. So CentOS Linux style movements will not happen to AlmaLinux. We still provide 10 years support and for our operating systems. We provide ABI compatibility, which is important, obviously, for software vendors. We have predictable releases, so everyone knows that new versions will appear on May and November every year. We have frame pointers, which is also important for software vendors. And we prefer risk-free approach for getting Red Hat sources. We don't use any Red Hat subscriptions to get sources, so totally legal to what we do. And one of the examples of how it's possible to develop on top of AlmaLinux is Cloud Linux operating systems. It's one of our sponsors. And before Cloud Linux 8.5, they had to build everything from Red Hat to make their operating systems. But it's not actually their business. So their business is hosting industry. They do some very specific packages for that, and they're not very interested to just rebuild Red Hat packages. That's why when AlmaLinux was released, they decided to switch and use AlmaLinux as a base. So for 8.5, they had to build everything. After 8.5, they are based on top of AlmaLinux and just maintain small subset of their packages. And later versions of Cloud Linux 9 and 10, they were designed from the scratch to use AlmaLinux as operating system, and that's why they have to put much less efforts nowadays to do their operating system. So strategy is the following. If you're AlmaLinux-based distribution, obviously you want to take as many packages from AlmaLinux as possible to don't do anything to them at all. Then there are some small subset of AlmaLinux packages that should be modified, so they apply additional patches there. And there are also unique packages for Cloud Linux that are not present anywhere. They are not in Apple. They are not in Red Hat anywhere. So, and actually, these packages are added value by them, and they want to focus on them as much as possible. So, as you can see, how Cloud Linux was developed initially. So, in Cloud Linux 8, they have to use own kernel and all secure boot stack. They produce minor releases, they produce ISO images, just like regular operating system. In Cloud Linux 9, they decided to switch to our kernel and our security boot stack. So they had to build much less packages at this point, but still they did minor releases and they did ISO images with the operating system. And in Cloud Linux 10 that was introduced recently, they continue to use kernel and continue to use secure boot stack, but they decided to drop minor releases and ISO images. So basically, nowadays, Cloud Linux 10 is kind of additional repository for AlmaLinux, just like Apple, that contains only Cloud Linux specific packages. That allows them to spend much less time doing their operating system. So how can we help with this? So if you have some package that you need to patch, this package is taken from AlmaLinux and it's necessary to patch it, there are two ways to avoid this. So basically, you can submit this patch to AlmaLinux. That is necessary for your operating system, but it's very important that this patch should not break ABI compatibility. So it should be still Red Hat compatible. And one of the examples of these packages is Cloud Init. So this is used for in virtual machines. And AlmaLinux has specific patches to support to be fully supported in Cloud Linux for our system, and also we include patch to support Cloud Linux as well. So in this case, they don't have to maintain on their side. It's totally on our side. Even better solution is to submit your changes upstream if it's allowed. So for example, SOS package, nowadays this package includes both AlmaLinux and Cloud Linux support, so we don't have to do anything on our side. And we can also help with specific packages that you do. For example, Cloud Linux, they have kernel module that allows to better maintain limits on system, some isolation between users, and so on. So if your product uses Cloud Linux kernel and Cloud Linux boot stack, your kernel model should be signed by AlmaLinux key, because without that, it's not possible to use it on secure boot enabled system. And we have a policy for that. So our partners, almost anyone, so can go to us and say, okay, I have a model, and this model should be obviously it should have free license, and we will build it publicly, and we'll sign this with a AlmaLinux key after reviewing what you do. And you can then later use this model in your product, and it will be compatible with AlmaLinux in secure boot mode. And as an example, yes, Cloud Linux LE kernel model does their specific functions, and we sign it with AlmaLinux key. So I think that's it with my presentation. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm ready for your questions.
はい、では少し、お時間ありますので、質問、受け付けられます。日本語で全然大丈夫です。ちょっと翻訳できますので、日本語でも構いませんので、今日アンドリューさんのセッションですとか、あとベニーさんのセッションで質問等あればいただければと思います。どなたかどうでしょうか。質問とかもうちょっと詳しく聞きたいとか。はい、お二人。はい、じゃあ先に。
すみません、じゃあ日本語でよろしいですか。素晴らしいセッションありがとうございました。BRTFS のサポートは今後も継続してサポートする予定でしょうか。
Sure, it will be supported until the AlmaLinux 10 end of life, so it will be until 2005, and in next AlmaLinux versions as well.
はいですね。継続してサポートしていくというのはですね、回答ですね。はい。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。Thank you。ですかね。じゃあ次。はい。
すみません、日本語で行います。アンドリューさんに、質問です。私はよく、AlmaLinux の、アップデートする前にステータスページを見てよく、状態を確認してリポジトリとのやり取りができるかを確認してるんですが、頻繁に Azure でのリポジトリでアンダーメンテナンスをかかっている時が多くてですね、それはリポジトリ側に問題があるのか、それともその運営元のマイクロソフトの Azure 内に問題があるのか、あとは私もやったことあるんですが VNet の設計そのものに問題があるのか、何かしら問題があるんでしょうか。お聞きしたいと思います。
So I don't know. You should report this, I think. So usually we don't have issues with repos. So it's not what I say.
じゃあもう一回ちょっとどうしようか。で英語でもう一回。シンプルに質問。じゃあもう一回シンプルに質問をお願いします。ちょっと日本語が長かったのでうまくすみません翻訳できませんでしたということなんで、ちょっとシンプルな質問をいくつかに区切っていただければと思います。
すみません、質問をまとめなくてすみませんでした。私が簡潔に質問したいことは、Azure でのリポジトリに何か問題が起きているのかということが気になっている点です。
はい、あれですね。Azure のリポジトリがよく使えない状態になっているように見える。はい。
ちょっと私も詳しくないんですけど、
はい、
Azure のリポジトリが使えなくなっているってことですか？
アンダーメンテナンス、すみません。
So I don't know. Maybe you should report it. You should provide technical details. What's going on with Azure repo? Because so far we don't see any issues with Azure repos. You should report it and explain what exactly is wrong with them.
Thank you.
ですね、Azure を使いということで、ちょっとだけ考えられる原因を私からお答えさせていただくと、Azure のリポジトリっていうのは、Azure 内にミラーが立ってまして、Azure 内で稼働するサーバーへのアップデートとかは Azure の外に出ないで Azure でトラフィックが完結するようになってまして、だから優先して Azure 内のミラーを参照するようになっているので、もしかしたら Azure 内のミラーに何かしらの問題が発生しているかもしれません。ということで、ちょっと推測ですが一旦お答えしておきます。
ありがとうございます。じゃあ、そうですね。で、その他、質問がある方いらっしゃいますでしょうか。はい。もしいいかな。はい、
じゃあ、NVIDIA のドライバーが別のリポジトリになっているのは何か理由があるんですか？
Yeah, because our core repos are contain the same packages as Red Hat contains. So we don't add NVIDIA to our core repos. That's why we have separate repo for NVIDIA. That is the reason.